3 dental practice lessons from an extremely unlikely source. That's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode of the Dental Practice Fixers podcast for dentists, featuring Mystery Shopper Calls. We always do our Mystery Shopper Calls. Hey, I'm Dr. Rich Madow, co-founder of the Madow Center for Dental Practice Success. And it is so great to be here with you today. And I am so psyched because I've got some fun stories and, of course, our hilarious, incredible, frustrating, learning Mystery Shopper Calls, which we'll get to in just a minute. But today we've got some business lessons from someone who you would never think was going to offer you lessons for your dental practice. So I'm really excited about that. I just want to remind you, please reference the show notes because I stuck 5 very important links in there that you do not want to miss, including one that will let you subscribe to our e-letter. I write an e-letter just about every single day, and it's always about great dental practice lessons and stories. Sometimes it announces upcoming webinars, other educational opportunities. So you do not want to miss that. Check that out in our show notes. And if you want to subscribe to that newsletter directly, you can go to madow.com/newsletter, madow.com/newsletter. And guess what? We're going to do a drawing for a Dental Practice Fixers coffee mug. What a nice item. Everybody who signs up for the newsletter is going to be eligible for the drawing. So maybe next time you listen to this podcast, you can be sitting at your desk, relaxing and sipping great coffee or tea from your Dental Practice Fixers mug. Fun stuff. Okay. You know, it's really fun to brainstorm and try new things when it comes to growing your practice, but it's also fun and maybe even more efficient to copy successful strategies that have worked for others, that others have implemented. I got to tell you, I'm not a fast food fan. I pretty much do not eat fast food or wander into fast food establishments. Now, fast casual, that's different. That's a different category altogether. But fast food, I don't really eat. But I think everybody listening to the podcast knows that the number one fast food chain, both in the US and internationally, for decades has been McDonald's. So they got to be doing something right. So I always say when the Golden Arches talks, it's a good time to listen. I want to just take you back a few years. The very first dental practice I purchased, this thing was a disaster. It was a small, cramped, kind of 3-chair affair with room for 1 more chair, maybe 2 more. I think we did wind up putting 5 ops in there eventually. It was in a nondescript shopping center in a nondescript suburb of Baltimore that I'd never heard of before I happenstance upon this practice. It was bankrupt, probably a few weeks before a padlock was going to be put on the door, but I somehow found this practice and made a deal to purchase it for a low price. But before I did that, before I signed on the line, you can imagine what my advisors, my accountant, my attorney, some of my colleagues and friends and family members were even saying. They were saying, Rich, don't do it. Like, why would you want to buy this bankrupt practice that sucks? I mean, why start on such a downer note? And, you know, they might have been right, but but they weren't, as it turns out, fortunately. And there were a few reasons I was confident that the practice was going to be successful. One of them had to do with the location of the practice. Now, without going into much detail, I'm a lifelong Baltimorean, but I was not familiar with this suburb at all. It was kind of a sleepy, small town. I had never really been there before. There was pretty much one street intersection, a small intersection in the entire town. It was about 3 blocks from this practice. And at that intersection, there was a small McDonald's, kind of a countryish McDonald's. It looked like one of the first McDonald's in the area. It probably was. But I did look at it and see that there was a huge makeover taking place. They were making over this McDonald's. You know, they had all the construction equipment out there. They were putting in the double drive-through, the playland, expanding the seating capacity, all these things. You could tell they were probably tripling the capacity, sinking a ton of money into it. And looking around the area, it was really hard to see why, but I knew that those bigwigs at McDonald's Corporation in Illinois probably did tons of research, both marketing research, geography studies, whatever you call them, seeing what was going to go on in this town in order to invest all this money. You know, McDonald's, they like never go out of business. They really know what they're doing. Their locations are so successful. So I figured they knew what they were doing. And sure enough, they were right. Over the next few years, this town became kind of a bedroom community for people who worked at a huge hospital. Baltimore Washington International Airport was going through massive expansions, and a lot of people, airline personnel and people like that, lived in this community. There was a large military base nearby, so a lot of retired military people were in the area. Defense contractors, because Baltimore, Washington area is huge with that. Even people who worked at the National Security Agency, NSA. I got to tell you a little sidebar. You think it's tough to have conversations and chit chat with your patients. Try talking to somebody who works at NSA. It's impossible. They're like trained to be tight-lipped. But anyway, the bottom line kind of was that, it looked like housing prices in Baltimore and in Washington were just going through the roof. And people were looking for these maybe smaller suburbs, bedroom communities where they could afford a nice house and still commute to their jobs in either Baltimore or Washington. And this area was one of those areas. So schools expanded, houses, apartments, townhouses, businesses were all being built like crazy over the next couple of years. And many of these people became my patients. And they were just the greatest, nicest people in the world. I mean, I had people like, as I said, airline personnel, hospital people, teachers, local business owners who would support the community, just all kinds of great people. Many of them had excellent dental insurance, and they were just really cool people, teachers, et cetera, defense industry folks. Now, of course, a million dentists also moved to the area, but fortunately, I was learning the customer service skills and the clinical skills that would make me one of the top practices there. And it turned out to be just a fabulous area to practice. And the lesson here is that instead of listening to all the so-called experts, number crunchers, accountants, attorneys, whatever, I kind of took a flyer and went with the marketing geniuses and the research geniuses of McDonald's and figured they are putting all this time, money, energy, capacity into this area. There's probably something here that other people just don't see. So I took a chance, bought this bankroll practice, and worked really hard. And the practice just became an amazing one that I eventually did sell for quite a large profit. So that was a great success story. And that was a lesson from McDonald's. Okay, let's do a few more lessons from McDonald's since we're having so much fun here. Here's one. There's this famous line that McDonald's invented. It's a line that they say after you place your order. It's been mocked, it's been copied, it's been repeated, it's been revered, it's been made fun of by comedians, whatever. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that line is, would you like fries with that? It's a great line. I mean, you think about it, you go place your order. My favorite order of all time, a Big Mac and a Diet Coke. That Diet Coke is really going to help things after the Big Mac. And that person, that high school student, many times it's their first job. They don't really know what they're doing, or they're not great at it yet. They'll just look at you right in the eye and say, would you like fries with that? And what do you say? You say, yes, I would love fries with that. I know they're going to clog my arteries and give me all kinds of fat and sugar on the knee, but McDonald's fries sure are tasty, and I would love fries with that. Give me some extra ketchups too. And they found that in the first year after training their, I don't know what you call them, their order takers to say that line, their sales went up over 27%. So that's pretty cool. So, Economics 101 would say that if you want to increase your revenues, then there are only a few things you could do. One is to increase the amount of customers you have, in our case, our patients. And the other is to increase the average sale per customer. In our case, better treatment plan acceptance, having our patients say yes to the more sophisticated and costly procedures. So that's what McDonald's did. They increased their sales per customer. So we have some kind of line like, would you like fries with that? Can we do it in our, and let's dissect this for a second. Notice the line. Would you like fries with that? It's very simple. You confidently look the customer right in the eye and say, would you like fries with that? And then you just pause. You don't say anything else. And they always say yes. McDonald's isn't making this into some kind of difficult to understand line. I mean, they're not saying like, may you be inclined to consider the addition of a side dish comprised of thinly sliced deep fried potato batons, commonly referred to as fries, as an accompaniment to your current selection, in order to enhance and complement your dining experience. They're not saying that. They're saying, would you like fries with that? And it's kind of the same thing when we present treatment, especially a patient who's symptomatic, who comes in with some pain, a chipped tooth, a bleeding gums, whatever. Just stay confident, stay simple, look them right in the eye. My favorite line is something along the lines of, I see what the problem is and I can fix it. So this is our second lesson from McDonald's. The marketing geniuses, let's learn to do what they did. You keep it simple. You always offer your best. You offer more. If that's what the patient needs, you look them right in the eye and you confidently state it. Would you like fries with that? I know what the problem is and I can fix it. And when you do it, it usually ends with a yes. And of course, keep your, when you have to explain the procedure, keep it simple. Keep your explanations as simple as, would you like fries with that? Shoo, two great lessons from McDonald's. Let's squeeze one more lesson in before we get to our mystery shopper calls. One thing is that back to McDonald's, yes, they're incredibly successful. Yes, their marketing is great, but they also try a lot of things that turn out to be flops, whether it's a TV ad, a radio ad, a coupon mailer, some kind of online pop-up, an ad at the bowling alley scorecard. They do so many different things. And they also test market a lot of different foods. And many of them, look, the Big Mac and the filet of fish, their standard offerings, they were test markets. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was a kid, so I was born in 1958. I'm 64 years old now. When I was a kid, I remember the first McDonald's coming to our area in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm sure they were already established in other parts of the country. But when they came to our area, all they had was hamburger, cheeseburger, French fries, and shake. That was their menu. And when they introduced something like the filet of fish, that was pretty wild. That was a big addition. The Big Mac, oh man, that came with a lot of fanfare too, I guess. But in between and up until today, they test market a ton of foods as well. And, not all of them are successful. And I just Googled a little bit before going live here, a list of some of the foods that they've test marketed over the years. So I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to read you a list of maybe 10 of McDonald's flops. One is the Arch Deluxe. I never heard of that. That was marketed as like an adults only burger. This isn't for kids. Didn't make it. One was called a McLean, like clean, the word clean, McLean Deluxe, which was a diet friendly burger. Maybe it was big in McLean, Virginia. I don't know, but that didn't make it. Pizza. They tried pizza. That didn't work. This one I love, the Hula Burger. The Hula Burger was a pineapple slice between two pieces of cheese on a toasted bun. Yes, they actually tried that. I'm going to say mahalo, but no mahalo to that one. The McHot Dog they tried. The McCrab cake, that was test marketed in my home state of Maryland, the seafood capital of the world. And I tried it way back in the day, and I got to tell you, it was not well received for good reason. They tried the McSpaghetti. I think most people just passed it on that one. Onion nuggets, yuck. Angus burger, be careful how to spell that when you don't leave out any letters. The McDLT, I remember that when the McDLT was marketed in like a double-sided styrofoam container, and you open it up, and their marketing with that is like one side keeps it hot, one side keeps it cold. So you would get your burger, you'd open it, on one side would be the hot burger on the bun. I don't know if that had a slice of cheese or not, but if it did, that would be all melty. Then on the other side, the cold stuff, the lettuce, tomato, pickle, etc. And it was your job to smack the sandwich together. So you had the beauty of the hot and cold. It was a flop. I think one of the reasons it was a flop is that the polystyrene container was pretty much considered an environmental disaster. So the McLobster roll, how about that one? I remember being at the airport in Manchester, New Hampshire in the 90s, and I ordered a McLobster roll. And it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good. It was a flop. McStuffins. McStuffins was kind of the hot pocket of fast food, and the Big and Tasty. I never heard of that one. My point is, these were all flops, but McDonald's tried them all. And in your dental practice, sometimes whether you're thinking about some new procedures or some marketing or some customer service things you're going to do in your practice, some things you want to do with your team, you got to try new things. And I guarantee you, if you try a bunch of new things and you're creative and you've got guts, they will not all work. But just like McDonald's, you got to try them, because that comes to the even more important guarantee. If you want to move your practice forward, increase your revenues, provide a better patient experience, get more new patients, et cetera, and you just keep doing the things the way you're doing them and you never try anything new, well, I guarantee you nothing will happen. So that's my guarantee. Okay. 3, marketing lessons from the folks with the golden arches. Shoo, that was a lot of stuff. I think we better get to our mystery shopper call soon. Just real quickly, I want to remind you, yes, we love Stacks for our credit card processing. at the Matto Center. And you should too, because they don't charge that nasty, nasty overage fee. Right now, they're running a special 2 months of processing, your first 2 months of processing at no charge. You still have to pay Visa, MasterCard, Amex, of course, but your processing fees will be waived for 2 months. Plus, you get a free terminal. Go to matto.com/save to learn more. MADOW.com/SAVE. Low, flat monthly fee, no percentage. You can save money every month like we do at the Matto Center. And if you're interested in a surcharging option where you actually charge your patients the credit card processing fee so you don't have to pay anything, I don't know. Some people love it. Some people don't. I've spoken to a bunch of dentists who have been very happy with the way it's worked out. You can go to matto.com/zero, or as we say here in Baltimore, /zero, MADOW.com/zero to learn more about that. Okay, let's go to our mystery shopper calls. I know so many of you consider this to be the highlight of the podcast, so I hope you enjoy. I did something pretty easy, or I thought it was pretty easy. This month we do a podcast more than once a month. This episode, I've got so many things going on in my head. I'm so excited. This episode, I just called 3 offices. I said, hey, I used to live in another state. I live here now. I know I need some crowns. I have Delta Dental. How does that work? So remember now, I'm calling an office. I'm saying, I know I need a bunch of crowns. I want a bunch of crowns. I just want to find out how my insurance works. Do you think they gave me a succinct answer and invited me to become a patient of the practice? Let's find out. Here, we'll go over to Command Central here. Call number 1.
Dental Care, Denise speaking. May I help you?
Yeah, I have a question for you. I was told by my dentist in Ohio about a year ago that I need 2 crowns, and I'm ready to get those done. So I just have a couple insurance payment questions for you.
I can try to help you, but we don't quote prices over the phone.
Okay, I wasn't asking for prices. First of all,
I just want to let you know.
Okay. Do you take Delta Dental Insurance?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So I understand that on a crown, for example, they pay a percentage of that. What percentage would they pay typically?
Normally, it depends on what type of insurance that you have. I mean, what did you choose? You remember what you chose as far as your options were? Like most dental insurance, like if you come in for a routine checkup and cleaning, that's normally covered at 100%.
Mm-hmm.
With most insurances. Some people have 80% coverage, which means you're responsible for 20%. Now, with fillings and stuff like that, like fillings, root canals, build-up, stuff like that, that's normally covered at 80% with most insurances. And then you're responsible for your 20% plus any deductible that you might have. With major services, some people have 80% coverage, some people have 50%. It's normal to have 50% coverage.
It's a crown a major service? Is that major?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like crowns, bridges, dentures, partials, all of that is a major service.
That's major. Okay, any major dude will tell you that. Okay, so let's say that I get crowns done and then my insurance pays half. Do I need to pay the half right away, or is there a financial option?
Yes, they will
for that?
expect you to pay your half plus your deductible up front.
Okay, great. Well, I think I understand that then. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, sir. You have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you have a great one. Bye. You have a very nice day. I told you I need 2 crowns. I told you I have insurance. Why didn't she say the first step will be to come on in for an examination and a cleaning? That will be covered by your insurance, and the doctor can take a look and see if he or she thinks that's the treatment you need. Anything. Come on. No attempt to get the patient in. She also just talked too much. Like I didn't say I wanted to hear about fees. The first thing she started was very negative. I just want to tell you, we don't quote fees. We don't quote fees. I didn't ask you for fees. Let's start with something positive. That's great that you have Delta Dental Insurance. We participate with insurance. It's excellent. We're glad to help you. Let's start with something positive. And then, of course, never invited me, and she did tell me to have a nice day, though. That was very nice. Have a nice day. Okay. You have a nice day, too, but you will never meet me. Next try.
Thank you for calling. If you are a new patient, please press 1. If you are are an existing patient, please press 2.
Press 1.
Dental. Please note, all calls are recorded for quality assurance.
Para español, oprime 5.
For Invisalign and orthodontics, please press 1. For pediatric dentistry, please press 2. Implants and oral surgery, please press 3. For adult and family dentistry, please press 4.
Wow, I'll press 4. Can imagine what else there would be.
Good morning, Dental. This is Heidi. How can I help you?
Hi, I've got a question for you. My dentist in Ohio, who I saw last year, told me I needed 2 crowns, and I haven't gotten them done yet. And I think I'm ready to do that. So I just have a question about insurance coverage and that kind of stuff.
Okay, what's the question?
First of all, okay, my insurance is called Delta Dental. Do you take that at your office?
We do, yes.
Good. So typically, does Delta pay a percentage? Do they pay the whole thing on a crown? How does that work?
So it all depends on which benefits you have elected. Usually, from what I've noticed, it's common for them to cover it 50%, meaning 50% would be your coinsurance, and then plus whatever deductible if you have any.
Okay. So let's say I get 2 crowns. I'm not sure how much they are. How much is a crown typically?
I'm not able to give you that information just because we're not sure. There are different types of crowns that you can get, and then the fees also depend on what insurance you have.
Oh, so you charge different fees for different insurance?
That's correct, yes.
Wow, is that legal?
That's the legal way to do it because we have contracted rates with each insurance.
So the legal way is to charge a different fee for different insurance. Okay. So let's say I Delta, you pay, the crown's a certain amount. I have to pay half.
That's
do
correct.
I have to pay that? Do I have to pay that half like right away, or are there financial options? How does that work?
So, depending on the crowns, because you are able to do the crowns, both of them at the same time. It just depends on what teeth numbers they are, and you would pay. You have the option to pay them all together. Or you can do like half and half, meaning you can do half one day and then half when you come back and get them delivered because you don't leave with the crowns. It's temporary.
Ah, so it takes 2 appointments.
Yes. Usually
Okay.
it's about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Yeah, I think they said it was tooth number 14 and tooth number 36, I believe. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, because there's no tooth number 36. But if that's the case, then that would be 2 different sides of the mouth. So then you would come in separate times.
Oh, so you can't do both crowns at the same time?
It's not ideal just because they are on separate sides of your mouth, meaning that they have to get numb. So then the doctor wouldn't prefer to numb both sides.
I see, because I'll be talking like this all day. I got it. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think I understand the whole picture there. Thank you so much for the info.
Of course.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye. Oh, wow. First of all, the phrase, when you get the crowns delivered, it's kind of internal terminology. If you just said that to a non-dental person, which 99.9% of our patients are, I would think I'd be like waiting at home and Grubhub would knock on my door and say, here's your crowns. They're all delivered for you. It's like, put in place, inserted, cemented. I don't care what term you use, but delivered, I think makes no sense to a patient. You're going to get your crowns delivered. It sounds like you'd be waiting for the FedEx or the Grubhub. I also love how I told her I needed crowns on tooth 14 and 36. So obviously, I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm relaying this information incorrectly, but she still assumed they were on different sides of the mouth. I mean, come on, let's get the patient in for a consult or an exam or something, which, as you may notice, she made no attempt to do. Well, she was kind of amusing, though, wasn't she? Okay, let's do one more call. Maybe we can do a little bit better with our final call of the day.
Thank you for calling DDS PC. Press 1 for returning patients. Press 2 for new
Sounds
patients.
like a train station.
Press 3 for all other inquiries. Transferring your call. Remember, you can always book an appointment 24/7 using our website.
Train number 74, the Acela to New York, will leave on gate 6E in 3 minutes. A horrible voicemail.
Office. How can I help you?
Hi, I've got a question for you. I had my last dental exam. It was when I lived in Ohio like a year ago, and they told me I needed 3 crowns. So I think I'm ready to get those, but I just have a question about insurance.
Okay.
So I have Delta Dental. Do you take that?
Yes, we do.
Uh-huh. And does that cover the cost of crowns usually?
You see, I would have to check your benefits, but most of the time they only cover 50%. So if let's just say you're gonna get 3 crowns, I mean, let me see, because for 1 crown you will have a copay, and that'll be $650. So
Copay $650. So that means the crown is $1,300.
Yeah. So if you're doing 3
Okay.
crowns, it'll be $1,950.
And that would be my share.
Yeah, that's your copay.
Right, my copay. And do I have to pay that all at once, like when I get the crowns done, or do you have different options for that?
So usually you could do that. You could pay it all at once, or what we could do is you could pay half of that for the day you come in for that appointment, and then you could pay the other half the 2 weeks later when she puts in the actual crown in.
Oh, so you don't get the actual crown first?
No, you'll have a temporary crown put in first, and then she'll send it over to the lab, the mold to the lab, so that they could do the crown, and then you will come back in 2 weeks, and she'll put the actual crown in.
And if I want to pay everything up front on the first visit, would I get a discount for that?
That you would have to ask the doctor about that. I'm not really sure. It's up to her what she says.
Okay, that's what she said. And
yeah.
And what's the mold? There's like mold in the tooth, you mean? Like they have to remove the mold from the tooth?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not
like
really
it's moldy,
sure.
like the broccoli in my fridge right now is like has mold. That's what it's like. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Well, I think I understand then how the whole thing works. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. If you want to schedule an appointment, that's up to you whenever you want.
It's up to me. It's a free country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Have a nice day.
Okay, bye. Oh, you have a really beautiful day. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
I mean, of all the crazy things she did, she almost got it somewhat right at the end. Well, you got to come in and take the mold. They do the insurance. So it's going to be this. And I don't know. Then she said some pretty crazy things. But then in the end, she started offering me an appointment, but then said, well, you can come in and you don't have to. It's up to you. Oh, man. Why not just say, let's make an appointment? Given a choice, many people will say no thanks. I don't know. Freedom of choice is what we got, but freedom from choice is what we want, in the immortal words of the band Devo, or somewhere close. Wow. 3 crazy calls. I'd have to say, 043, but I liked listening to them. And if you like listening to them, hey, do all your colleagues a favor, your dentists and dental team members throughout the world, and go on wherever you're listening or watching the Dental Practice Fixers podcast and give us a 5-star or a thumbs up or whatever the rating system is. And if you've got an extra few seconds, if you could write a very kind review, we'd really, really appreciate it. That's how we keep the lights on around here, as they say, by spreading the word and helping more and more dental practices across the world, which is really our goal. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dental Practice Fixers. And again, if you did, give us a good rating and a little review if you have a second to help others enjoy it as well. I am Dr. Richard Madow, co-founder of the Madow Center for Dental Practice Success. You can reach me at Rich, R-I-C-H, at M-A-D-O-W. That's Madow.com. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.